What is up? What is up, everyone? And what is up? Welcome back to the bakery with YungD0nut. You already know who it is. Hope you're having an amazing Monday. And I really just want to jump right into this because today we're blessed with apparently a fan of the show, a veteran, Smash Studios' own Stango. That's how you say it, right? It's Stango. No.
Yeah.
Okay, I would hate to mess up the pronunciation on that. Stango, what's going on, man? Welcome to the show.
What's going on? I'm glad to be here.
We're so glad to have you here. Now, to everyone watching at home right now, this may look like the normal scene that we normally do for the bakery, but I think season 3, it's time to step things up, move things in a new direction. Boom. Look at that. We're really changing it up, We got the webcam button. That's actually that's such actual hype. That was such a legitimate hype right there on his face. We got the
I'm so excited.
I'm really glad you are. We got the cams going this time around. I'm gonna be looking so weird the way I got this monitor with his face. I got this one with the questions. My microphone's over here. I'm so well prepared for this. You would think I'm not. So no, let's get right into this. So if you want to give a quick introduction.
Now the main thing is that you have to be concerned the faces you make while you do this. You have a lot of ability to be judged here.
I'm gonna be totally honest with you, and this is kind of like a trivia type thing for those that have ever cared enough about the show. If it ever gets to this level, I would love to see who goes back in time and answers this question.
What was the first episode that webcam cams were introduced?
Well, no, it's even better. So you were talking about like the faces that I make during these and like how that changes. Yeah. Even better, there was a time that I did, this is back when, actually no, I can't give any hints away for this. Putting it simply, during an interview, I had to take probably the worst poop of my life. I'm not too ashamed to admit this, but I had to. And so we just quickly were like, hold on guys, we're gonna cut to a break and we'll be like... And I just had to like go like back.
Cable TV.
Yeah, basically just cut back to the countdown.
Our quick 10 minutes.
Yep, and I ran to the bathroom as fast as I could, came back, and it was even worse because the interview was ending. Like we were pretty much at the end, so I come back. It was
wrap up time.
It was literally wrap up time, and I just wasted it away by just blowing out my bowels real quick. So it was really unfortunate, but I'll forever remember that because since then I never eat anything before the show. I try and if I am
not
gonna eat,
advice.
I mean it happens. If you're a guy that's busy working all day when I'm just setting up scenes and writing down questions and doing research, it's like, trust me, there's times I could squeeze in some food, but we're working on it. So
alright.
Always got the water on deck though, because I have the worst, what is it, like dryness of mouth anyone could ever have that isn't a pothead. So, that's just how life is. So, moving finally into the interview, Stango, if you want to give a quick introduction for the people that don't know who you are, go right ahead.
So, my name is Stango. That's my tag, based off my last name. My name is Nick Stango. I play Smash Brothers Melee competitively. Recently this year, I was just awarded 62nd best Melee player in the world. When you are looking at the Melee scene, I'm on the East Coast side of things. I'm originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I recently moved to Delaware, but I kind of consider those two regions very close-knit and together, so it's kind of like the same thing.
Almost like an MDVA type thing.
Delaware, yeah, sort of like that. It's definitely a lot easier because those regions are so much more spread out than Delaware and Philly. You could get to Philly from where I am in like 40 minutes.
No shit.
And like some places from like Virginia, Maryland, all that stuff can be like an hour plus a lot of the time. Huh. So I don't know. It's not too bad, but yeah, that's where I'm from. This year, as far as Melee goes, I'm looking to travel a lot. I recently was just at the script yesterday during the weekend. But yeah, I'm up and coming Marth player. I would say up and coming sort of lightly because I think I'm starting to get to a more established position where I want to be. But there's always growth and potential that can be achieved at any point in the game. So that's kind of me. That's my spiel. I'm a funny guy. I love Melee. Melee's cool, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
I think one of my favorite things people that, well, no, not enough people do this, is compliment themselves on something like that. So the whole I'm a funny guy, I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of respecting your humor.
That's definitely one of my key things about me, is that I love being funny. Like, not even so much like the initial act of it, but I love being the center of attention when like funny things are happening and I'm making them happen. Like I like being the guy that kind of makes everyone enjoy what's going on.
Hell yeah. I definitely can relate to that. In fact, in doing research for tonight's interview, there's actually one thing that I'm gonna go on a hard read and assume you didn't mean for this to be funny, but I think it's actually super funny. You did a Marth guide with PB&J. I think it was midway through last year, might have even been late last year. I can't say for sure.
Right.
The very beginning of it, the very, very beginning of the interview, and you guys can check this when I upload the VOD. I'm gonna put this in the link, or this link in the description. But in it, within the first few minutes, when you're going over what you're going to be talking about. All right, guys. So in this interview, in this tutorial, we're going to be talking about how Marth does his stuff, his frame data, all that. And you're just like walking away. You're like going into the back. Just like, I think you're taking off like your sweatshirt or something like that. But the whole time you're explaining it while you're walking away. I was fucking dying. I thought that shit was so funny. So hard read, you didn't mean to do that.
So it wasn't necessarily something to convey that being funny. It's just like when we kind of do our things at the SS house as far as making like videos. I think one kind of art of, you know, newer content creation is that there doesn't feel like there's a lot of free form in what's going on, and there's a lot of positives of why you shouldn't do things of that nature in a freeform manner. But I think there is somewhat of a lost art. Like, for example, a long time ago, a Melee player that went by the name Lucian, he played Sheik. He made like a lot of Melee guides like live in the middle of like tournaments, like on a recording setup. And I found those always really interesting because it seemed like more of a conversation rather than someone like talking at you in a very formatted and scripted way. So I think in general, the way I like doing things is that I like getting a basic idea of what I want to discuss and just kind of elaborating and going wherever it takes me. So I think that's the main reason why that it may come off that way. And some people may not like that format, which is totally understandable because I get it. There's definitely a lot more structure to a scripted way, but I think I enjoy doing things more freeform than very static.
I totally feel that. I think I don't know, a second ago when we're talking about like being humorous and something like that. You know, in comedy, have you ever heard of the comedian Mitch Hedberg? No, he passed away, rest his soul. His humor, in my opinion, was so freeform. He would literally go on to stages with note cards, and on the note card would be like a word or like a 3-word sentence that would just be what his joke is about to be about. I'm pretty sure like one of them he literally had on the note card, and he goes, I think I'm supposed to explain why I come up here with these note cards on this joke. I'm really not going to do that, and I want you guys to know I just write my jokes on these. And then he just throws it away, and everyone laughs at it. And it's like, yeah, he's just being
That's really
genuine.
Funny, actually.
He's hysterical. I highly recommend to anyone that hasn't heard of Mitch Hedberg, definitely look up some of his old comedy. He was great back in the day. He was a bit of a drug addict, but we don't got to get into the darker side of things. But I totally agree. I think freeform is just such a better way to handle interactions with people, and when you're botting yourself so hard to these scripted situations and just overall conversations, it just kind of, it almost puts like a damper on the conversation before it even happens, you know?
Right. Yeah, I think it takes away a lot of potential of having your own personality in what you do. I think when we talk about melee content creation nowadays, and just any kind of content creation of like any kind of esport games, is that it feels like that there's this overwhelming feeling that the person that is talking to you has no personality whatsoever. That they don't seem to, you know, have any kind of personal touch to what they do or say, because it's just like, hey, today we're talking about Smash Brothers Fox. Up smash is good. Shine Gimps. You win the game.
Yep.
All right, guys. This is my Twitter and Twitch. Thank you for following, and have a good one. It just feels so disconnected, and the main thing that I've always tried to stay within myself is that I love being a people person. So I love being able to have more of a connection in whatever I do. And some people are just kind of here for, like, you know, I want the facts, and like,
show me the card.
I can do things like that, but the thing I will absolutely always prefer is just being more freeform in the way I create content.
I love it. I love that, man. And I think you definitely have a way of coming off with that. A good question with that would be, do you see yourself as a content creator or as someone that wants to be a content creator? What do you do so far as that wave?
So content creation has always been a thing for me that I've always wanted to do. There's a lot of things that I've always had ideas about. But as far as the content creation I've only really gone to and done is just streaming. Back in the day when I used to play Project M before I really actually started taking Melee more seriously, I made a lot of guides and, you know, certain tutorials for that game, way more than I ever did with Melee before and now. So when I think about being a content creator, it's something that I've always been interested into, and I think I would be really good at it. It's just it's hard to find the time. Like I would always, you know, want to do content creation, but here's the main life story about me is that I am a person that is very easily in a position where I can just kind of like get bored at doing like work. And content creation, no matter how you look at it, whether it be free form or not, it takes a lot of work and time and preparation. And it's the thing where it's hard to juggle that content creation and also be a competitor, because there are things that clash against each other so directly. There needs to be a lot of time for either or, and maybe at some point I can find the balance between the two, but as of right now, it's I think the most that I'm going to be doing in the future is just streaming. I would like to do more YouTube stuff, but I think I got to focus on one platform at a time, and I think my Twitch channel is a better way of conveying my style. Is that when I'm, you know, playing someone on NetPlay and I do something funny and I say something funny about it, and then it's just like, that guy's cool, I'm gonna follow him. Like that, I feel like that's a more direct positive the way I work, instead of, you know, like throwing a few videos out there about some topics that are either covered very heavily or I don't have time to like edit these things or make them concise and make them, you know, 5 or 3 or 2 minutes long without, you know, losing any substance. So I think the main thing is that Twitch is for me for now. In the future, I may do more YouTube stuff, but I'm not exactly certain where I'll be going.
I think Twitch is a good start, though, and I think moving with that will only it'll kind of pave the way for you. I think Twitch is one of those platforms that I can log it let's say I'm like an actual good player and I decide, I'm gonna make a Marth guide today. I'm gonna go over edge guarding situations, and I'm gonna go over different ways that you can edge guard spacies. You can literally not only practice that, but make content out of it while you're practicing, because of how like Twitch works. You know, you can highlight the whole thing. You can upload the VOD immediately to YouTube. I think it's a good way to start content. And then if people understand that they are learning from what you're doing, or they appreciate what you're doing, you know, an editor comes along, wants to edit my stuff. This person has some ideas that they can't do, but they want me to go over. I can do that. There's some more content, and it all works with practicing. So I think I'm trying to think of like KJH, in my opinion, is like the perfect example of someone that does that. I think, except he can fucking do anything. That dude, I don't know how the fuck he does like anything on the damn GameCube controller, but he does it and he makes content out of it and he uploads it. And I think doing that is it's a great start for content creation as far as Smash goes. And we need more people that are freeform and able to just kind of be themselves instead of, I have this script in front of me, Fox Shine comes out, frame 1 is also invincible. It's like, no, be yourself about this shit. Talk about the things that you fuck up during the practice. Show that like it's not that easy, you know? People need to see that.
And you see that all the time in that one Marth guide. Like, we're trying to do one scenario over and it's like, oh, hold on, again. All right, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2. It's actually super funny, like, as many times as it happens.
It's a great tutorial too. Again, like I said, guys, it'll be in the description. I'm gonna straight up just put it in the chat right now because I still have this thing open. So for anyone that ever wants to view this thing, feel free. I'm just gonna do that a few times. Definitely check it out. It's a great Marth tutorial, but we'll touch on that a little bit later. I want to kind of rewind a little bit because you did talk about this briefly in our little introduction there, but your tag, Stango, you didn't always go by that tag, and I was really hoping to see you kind of be like, what are you talking about? But no, you're well aware. Mr. Lawn Chair was the previous tag. Can we touch on that a little bit? Where does that come from?
The classic interview segue. I like it. You're taking the classic trope.
I have to, man. I need to know.
So, lawn chair, and this is a story that, you know, depending on your perspective of it, is actually not that engaging. It's entirely this is that a long while ago, my first tag, and you don't have data on this, I know you don't.
Oh.
My first tag was LJK.
Fuck, I didn't know that one.
So
LJK.
What LJK meant. This is a little backstory to my childhood. So when I was little, this has always kind of been a thing about me. I've never hung out with kids my own age. I've always been like a little more ahead of the pack in terms of, you know, what I like maturity wise.
Okay.
So I hung out with my cousin that was much older than me. So like I was like 9 years old and he was like 15 or 16 or something. I would hang out with him and his friends, and we would play Melee, we would play other things, we would watch anime, like all this kind of stuff. I would just chill with the bros. And, you know, this is just the classic thing about being a young child, is that when you have someone like that, like where my cousin's kind of pretty much like my brother to me, when you have someone like that, it's always like, oh, can I make you laugh? Oh, can I make you think I'm cool or something like that? And it's just totally like a most unnecessary prodding, like, huh, am I cool yet? Am I yet? Yeah. It's just like, yes, you're cool. Shut up. Stop talking.
I have a younger brother. I know exactly that.
So it's all about like the entire thing of, you know, like, I just want the recognition. I want the okay. That's just like, yeah, that was cool. That was funny, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. So I was always on the thing of, you know, where my cousin would say something funny or their friends would say something funny, I would try to like continue on it. I'd be like, if he said, you know, knock knock, aren't, you know, banana, he's like, aren't you say orange? I'm like, yeah, orange. And they just look at me and they're just like, you killed the joke. And this was such a common occurrence that I would keep killing these jokes, that I would just make them so abstract that they were like completely just not funny anymore, that my name was Legendary Joke Killer.
Oh LJK. My god.
That was my Smash tag. That was my very first Smash tag. I was a legend at killing jokes. I still am. I still am. Legend. Now it's not as apparent because, you know, I have a lot of defense mechanisms against it. I could be like, oh no, you're just dumb. You're stupid.
You just don't have a high IQ, man. Come on.
You're just not on my level. That's all. But when I was little, like, you know, my cousin would just be like, you killed the joke. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was the thing. That was my very first tag. Legendary Joke Killer. I was a master of killing jokes.
I'm already so sad to know that this tag didn't stick with you. I'm so upset, man.
So, fast forward to Project M days, like early 2012, 2013, when the game was getting really big. When it was at Apex with Melee, and it like got higher numbers, either streaming wise or entrance wise. I know in some facet there was a point where PM may have been bigger than Melee, like a very small portion.
I would imagine the earlier year than the later, so probably what, like 2013 or 14 maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So regardless of that, around that time, I wanted to come up with a new tag. I wanted to come up with a tag that my thought process is like, hey, if I beat someone, I want it to be a name that sticks. I want a name that is just like, if I beat someone, or, you know, is just like, hey, that's a cool tag, because it's just like so abstract and creative. So I was just like, what is like the funny dumb tag that I could come up with that everyone will love?
Lawn chair.
I just literally thought of an object, and that's all it was. Like, I changed my Steam to it. Every account was lawn chair.
Everything.
Like, I was Melee lawn chair. I was, you know, Gary's mod lawn chair, TF2 lawn chair, Counter Strike. It literally every single game I was lawn chair, and it was amazing because the name got so well received. Everyone loved lawn chair. And here's where it happened. Pound 2016 is the last tournament that I was lawn chair.
No.
Yep. So what happened is that I had two really close sets with amazing players, SFAT and YungD0nut. So during that time, you know, YungD0nut was like still pretty good player. He still like kind of was, you know, regional or national threat to some people. You know, he was getting good placements.
He was probably still top 100 during that. Maybe.
Yeah, he was playing the game at that point. SFAT, I almost took game 1 against him at Pound.
Oh shit.
Game 2, he outlasted me, and then against YungD0nut, I literally like 3-stocked him, like game 1 and 2, and he brought it back. And I learned valuable lessons of how that happened. Essentially, long story short, I had a habit of not up being on stage and taking like a back air. I would just always get shine spiked or get ledge hogged at whatever percent. But I pretty much almost 3-stocked YungD0nut like 2 times in a row, and I still lost. But after that tournament, everyone was just like, yo, good shit, man. Like, you're really good. You're really good at this game. Like, lawn chair, that's such a stupid name. And I'm like,
how dare you?
I'm just thinking, I was fighting it. Like, the whole entire weekend. And I think I know who to credit with this. And it has a lot of weight, so I don't know if I have it right, but I think the person who convinced me the most was actually... Hold on, I can't remember. I gotta look at the tab. Plays Falcon. Captain Smuckers.
Oh, Smucks! No shit, Alex? Let's go.
The whole weekend, me and Captain Smuckers were hanging out. We were being bros. And he was just talking about how lawn chair is the worst name ever, and I was just like, no, dude, lawn chair's sick. You gotta give it a chance.
Captain Smuckers calling lawn chair. Okay, buddy.
Dude, Captain Smuckers the whole time was just
Alex.
telling me that I need to change my name. And I think pretty much what he said, he's just like, you should change it to Stango. Like, your last name's Stango. That's sick. That's a good
It
tag.
is a sick tag. It is. I can't argue it, but lawn chair.
The thing is that at the end of when it was all said and done for the tournament, that's when I made my choice. I was like, I think I'm going to be Stango now. That was the last tournament. Lawn chair was my tag. And side note, I am looking for someone that wants to take lawn chair. I'm only giving it to someone who's worthy enough for it. I do want lawn chair passed down generations, but I haven't found anyone that's willing or lucky enough to receive such a name.
I might talk to you a little bit more after the stream here. Dude, that's so legendary though. Everyone, see, the minute you're talking about lawn chair, the only thing going through my mind is like, everyone has a lawn chair. everyone has a lawn chair. You're the family known lawn chair now. Like everyone, I can't get that around my head that someone wouldn't like that tag. I think that's so fucking amazing.
And the funny thing is that it's the exact thing where after I changed my tag, so many people were just like, "Oh my god, I miss lawn chair."
You have
lawn
to.
chair was so good.
Whatever happened to that lawn chair guy? You know, he was so good at Melee, and then he just dropped out. What happened?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
that's exactly what happened.
He became this fucker whose tag is his last name.
Yeah, exactly. But
wild.
no, that's the story of my tag, and you could have found out about LJK. I'm disappointed.
No,
you
I
didn't.
could have.
There are YouTube videos.
Oh, what the?
There is.
Hold the. No way.
I'll show you, dude. I know you didn't find these.
I know I didn't, because how the hell would I look up LJK
now, through your
versus...
research, have you found a name of a guy named Metal Reaper?
I have. Yes. Yes. No. Wait. What the... Wait a minute.
Yeah?
Don't come at me with this. You're going to talk about it before I'm going to talk about it?
Yeah.
Talk about it, because I'm looking for LJK. I'm looking for LJK.
You can essentially interject with it, because I know you probably have a question lined up about it, but essentially long story short is that Metal Reaper was the brother of a friend of mine that helped me get into Melee big time, and a lot of the videos are just of me, him, and his brother just sucking at Melee. Like, we were so bad, but Metal Reaper was so much better than all of us. Like, he just played Fox. He was super good. I played like 5 different characters, and I'm assuming you might have a question about mains, but
well, I mean, for you, yes, it was more going to be about like who your first main was and like who you started with.
We'll
but
get to that, because there's a lot to that.
See, that's the problem. I can't find any of this LJ.
So my name actually in a video, I don't think was ever LJK. It was Stango always, but my tag in the game
was LJK. No fucking way.
Yeah, like in a lot of them.
I'm not. Wait a minute. Is this one right here? Wait a minute. No, that says. Wait, what does that say? This says BBJ. This is you versus Smucks at the gang. No.
Oh no, that's not it, dude.
No, I know. You think I'm giving up on this search? I might stop during the interview, but like,
dude, you can't.
What?
It's on Metal Reaper's channel, on his YouTube channel.
I can't find his channel anymore. I literally, dude, you're cheating.
You're tight.
I am. I'm very. As the fucking East Coasters would say. Do people in West Coast say tight at things? I haven't been out there, and I feel like that's just something that might get lost in translation. People that just say
about
tight.
Like East and West Coasters, I do believe that some West Coasters say Titans, all that stuff.
They
but
still
it's primarily. Oh, thank you. I just deliver food.
Let's go.
Yeah, I have a delivery service inside my home.
Oh my god, we love that. Oh my god. Okay, ready for this? Here's how I knew. Because shout out to the homie Save as Untitled. He put up your combo video, Philadelphia's Undisputed King. That's how I found that. Because you have lawn chair in some of these games, and then you also have I think
Stango.
one of those games is yeah. There's definitely a game of you versing Metal Reaper, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so here's a video that I found that has the tag. I'm gonna post it in the Discord. Definitely. So backstory about this video is just a really funny thing. Essentially, I just said I pretty much just said that you can't beat me with Donkey Kong. You can't beat me with Donkey Kong.
I swore I could beat him with Donkey Kong. You hate to see it. Oh man, wait.
And when I was a little kid, I used to leave this house that we played Melee in. I used to, because I used to live around the corner. I used to leave this house crying because I got my ass whooped so hard.
By a Donkey Kong.
I came back every day.
Oh my god. Because you can't lose. You're firefoxing at him. What?
Yeah, no, dude. That's what I used to do at Fox.
Dude, Fox is so good. You just firefox at everyone and you'll win. let's touch on this. Let's go back even further now. First main you ever had when you're sitting in your basement or you're sitting with your brothers and you're playing Smash with him and his friends. First main.
So, first main was Falco Lombardi. That was my first main, and it's because my cousin played Falco. That's entirely why. That's entirely why.
Eagles fly together.
After that, fast forward a few years for when I met Metal Reaper and started playing Melee with him. I played Falco again. I played Link as a legitimate main. I actually did play Link for a little bit. My Link was actually sick.
I can't talk shit about Link because if you've ever heard it, you know who Stro is by chance?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stro's sick.
Yeah, he's beaten my ass on multiple occasions, so I can't even shit talk Links. So good.
So Link, Captain Falcon, and then last but not least, when I started following the competitive scene, like actively watching tournaments, absolute favorite player of all time will be Mewtwo King, and that's when I picked up Marth.
Oh shit, we got a Mewtwo King
So I
fan.
want to say I picked up Marth maybe around 2011 or 2010.
2011, 2010, so we're looking at almost 9 years of straight Marth. And then before that, Fox, Falco, Falcon. Or not even Fox.
Link.
Oh, and Link, sorry. How could I ever leave out such...
Don't forget Link. The Link is such an important part of my history.
You think you could still go to a local and win with a Link?
So, I actually... So, there's a funny story about that, is that I played against RTD Lou. And the first time I ever lost a set to him, I played Link in the set. And I actually took him the last stock one of the games. My Link was kind of giving him the work, but I lost.
Listen, man, as long as you deliver the work, you know, you did your job.
It was the work that was being done. But yeah, that's pretty much my main history. The biggest parts of it was definitely Falco and Marth. The Falcon and Link and all that stuff was very short-lived.
Mm-hmm. And so since then, it's been Marth. Do you ever? I mean, I guess I'll ask this. It's like, do you ever regret sticking with Marth and maybe wish you had switched to a different character early on and had played a different character? Is there someone you look at that you think is more fun, maybe more optimal, maybe just better as a character? Or do you forever, are you happy that you've stuck with Marth all these years?
So I'm definitely happy that I stuck with Marth, because I think, in all honesty, is that when it comes to Marth, there's a lot of things that I think makes him a little bit better than all the other characters. And I think overall, when we talk about... Dude, I don't if you stayed on Link. Yeah, I regret switching from Link, my boy. But no, when it comes to Marth, obviously there would be a lot of instances, like earlier in my career, against like floaties and stuff like that. Like if I maybe mained Fox or Falco, like I would have had an easier time with that. Mm-hmm. But I think I've learned and developed a lot more as a player than I would have as those other characters. Because I think one thing that I noticed is a very big common trend is that a lot of spacey players, especially during the ages that I grew up in Melee, is that there is a lot of plateaus that you run into as a spacey player. Mm-hmm. And it's not necessarily just because I think Marth is easier to play than those characters. I think there's a lot of fundamental ideas that don't immediately click with these ideas that you should be doing with spacies. I think with Marth's game plan, as you know, being a zoning / punish heavy character, I think it kind of makes sense when you need to implement newer things, or when these ideas of yours need to get a lot more complicated. I think when it comes to spacies, is that there is such a big precedence of, you know, I have to click the right buttons at the right time, that there's almost no room to think about anything else when you're first starting out. So could I have done better if I switched to spacies? Maybe. But I think overall, with the things that I've learned and the knowledge I've gained, I think my potential it will always be more with Marth.
I like it. I like that. That you almost kind of touched on something that I've wanted to start asking more top or higher level players this, because I really want to get more insight on this, and I think other people could benefit from this as well. when you are new to the scene and you are new to competitive
Can you grab me
melee,
water?
when you are new to like competitive, God, I can't speak English. Competitive water. Yeah, I just said competitive water. Competitive melee.
Water.
Quick, drink. Competitive melee. Top 3 or even top 2 starting characters. Who do you think people should start with when they're getting into melee if they really want to get into the competitive scene?
So first, it's important to identify is, how much do they actually want to get good at this game? Because I think there is a difference in attitude of newer players nowadays versus like around the time that I started playing Melee. Everyone that ever wanted to play Melee around my time wanted to be the best in the world. I think there is a big happenance of people that play Melee nowadays and are content with like, being a local winner, being a regional threat, things of not as a high aspiration of being good at the game. Are you okay? Sorry, my girlfriend, she just literally just had a heart attack right in front of me.
Oh God. I mean.
Yeah, she's gone. It's all right.
Oh. Okay.
But anyhow, so I think when it comes to players nowadays, they're a lot more complacent in terms of what they want to do. And I think it's important to identify, like, what is your goals? Like, what do you want to be? And that was one of the major things that Cactuar kind of asked me that I was like, that really makes me think in perspective. Like, he asked me, what do you want to be in the end? Like, when it's all said and done, where do you want to be when you finally move on to something else, or you let things go? And I said, I think I want to be the best in the world, or I want to have the recognition of being a really good player, without a doubt. So I mostly do it for the recognition, quote unquote, fame, for lack of a better word.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be known for something. That's my motivation. I like the idea of being thought of as, a best of something. That's my motivation behind me, and the only way to achieve that is that I have to think, deliberately about, how to get there. When we're just talking about a guy who says, I want to, just be good at melee and I want to combo, then like, that's fine. But when it comes to, what they want to do as far as characters, any character that's at least a top tier is not a bad starting character. Because here's the thing, there are so many tools. Like, if you asked me this question 9 years ago, I probably would have said someone easily like Sheik, Marth, Puff.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that nowadays there's so many resources and tools that we didn't have so long ago that, Franker Z.
Franker Z.
Franker Z.
Let's go.
Oh gosh, he's gonna eat my grilled cheese. You're going back? All right. Hello.
Sweet, we got a dog in the chat. Let's go.
All right, let me move this grilled cheese up here because she's probably.
What, you can't share with the dog? Come on.
So anyhow, what are you gonna set up on the desk? All right.
Dude, my cat does that same thing. Jumps on my lap and then goes onto the desk as if like that's where I wanted you. No.
So the main thing about nowadays is that there's so many resources that the idea of a starting character is like almost like is based on a fallacy that any character is easier than another as far as starting, because you like literally when you wanted to practice shield pressure, it was against your friend in your bedroom, and he's just spamming shield grab when you're playing Fox or Falco. Nowadays you can play against a frame perfect CPU that tells you what you're missing.
Mm-hmm.
Like before, when I practiced like spacing, I was just like, am I hitting my amp cancel? I can't even tell. Like, you have all this information and resources that I think any character that you think is cool, I think you should play. I don't think there's one character that really does it better. But if I were to give a list, I would say nowadays, Puff, Sheik, and Peach, I guess. The characters that have a very straightforward punish game and overall can develop in terms of having a strong mitigation in defensive game. So that's the characters that I would probably say to start out with.
That's like more than I could have asked for in an answer. Damn. Yeah, you covered every little spot I could have touched
I
on.
just think when it comes to starting character, it's so it just doesn't make sense to me. I think with so many choices of tools and resources now, like everyone's so well prepared and spoiled enough that they can make it with any character at any level.
I think one of the reasons I was bringing it up is I know in college, a close friend of mine. Oh, she's already aware. when I was first trying to get a friend of mine into. Oh, God. Look at that face.
She's tight right now.
She's very alert. See, what's her name?
Kai. Yeah.
Oh my
Kai.
I love it. You know oh my God, I'm gonna off track for a second. My first gamer tag ever in anything ever. Actually, no, I'm a liar. Second gamer tag in anything ever was Kai Kibo, for literally no reason other than I was a wannabe weeb that just fucking really liked that word. I don't know why. So that's very adorable. Anyway, friend in college, really wanted to get into Melee, and his first character ever was Luigi. And a lot of the time I feel like Luigi was one of those characters that isn't easy to kind of start learning the game with. You understand what a wave dash is because he fucking slides across half the damn screen, but that's about like the extent of if you're getting into more advanced stuff. I mean, you can practice shuffles, sure, you could practice a shit ton of stuff, but he seemed to struggle with that character for a start. And you see people switching between different characters trying to figure out which one is what they're gonna want to stay with and practice with and yada yada yada. So that was my primary reason for asking. I think you hit every nail on the head as to, well, if you want to be actually good, you do this. If you want to just be known, you can try this. If you're just trying to play the fucking game, then play anyone. Like, shut up, play anyone. So
yeah, it's just a lot of things that question has changed my opinion on it after so much time. Just because it's like it's just so easy to be good with anyone nowadays. It is. It entirely is, just because of the tools that we just did not have that long ago.
Now, when you're saying that long ago, if you were to give an estimate on, like, when do you think Melee was at its hardest to get better? When would you say? Especially because you have the years to back it up, so I would assume you might have an answer for that.
Hardest to get better. I would say definitely the age before 20XX and netplay, because I think one of the many key tools, the two factors that made it difficult to break the barrier, is one, getting more consistent at playing the game the way you're supposed to play it, ergo punish, pressure, edge guarding, things like that. I think 20XX delivered a resource to players that were just like, okay, well, I can't really understand how things like this function in the middle of a match, because there's so many factors that are also manipulating and variables that are changing things. When I have a very static situation where it's like, character's gonna shield, it will grab me if I'm not tight on my execution. That's it. And then adding in the additional building blocks of what you need to be doing after you get the basis down. So that's one. I think when 20XX was released, which I don't even know what year that was. It was like
20XX.
Almost like 5 years ago, right?
It had to have been. It's mostly when.
See if I can find the original Smashboards post. 2014.
Yeah.
At 12:44 a.m. So March of 2014 is when 20XX was released. So that's almost. Is that so?
That's 5.
What? 6?
Yeah.
Yeah, about 6 years ago. So that's first. And then, sorry, I don't have a way to research this.
No.
But whenever netplay got good, like, netplay was around for like a somewhat long while, but it always sucked. It was always bad. We didn't even have a reliable way of connecting to the computer without any significant input delay from an adapter.
Oh, I remember
we
the
got
purple USB adapters that were out with the 2 ports, and you had to set it up
I
as a
had
standard.
that, right?
Yep.
I do have that.
Yeah, those things are ridiculous.
But then we had the RAFnet adapters that helped with that, and then we had, you know, the coders for Smash Ladder and Anther, like kind of really put in work to make this a thing. And then the last step that really pushed it through was Faster Melee.
Yep.
When Faster Melee came out, which was only like about 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah, roughly 2 years.
Changed things. That really changed things, because the second factor that made it hard to get in good is finding players to play. Like some regions of the world, like even in the US, like there's just either lack of good competition or there's lack of competition at all. Like, you know, when we talk about these net play heroes and these net play warriors, they're actually good. Like, you know, they are, you know, in some cases just punish bots where they can just hit you and, you know, kill you. But there's actually good players who came from net play. So those are the two things that I think when Melee was difficult to get good, all time before those two things happened.
I think it even shows more when these guys are going to tournaments and they're proving themselves more and more. You know, what is it? You had, what's his name? Oh my god, am I actually forgetting the fucking? Oh my god, the Fox, the kid, Cyrox. Jesus Christ, he like goes out, does all this shit, and everyone's just like, oh, some guys have heard of him, how have you not? And it's like, oh, he's this tech skill guy on Smash Ladder. And then we have Michael 41 trillion zillion out here now, fucking #1, gets MIOM ranked because he makes it out to more and more tournaments. Like, these guys are showing up more and more to tournaments. And then we have actual pros coming into Smash Ladder, because I mean, yes, pros were there before, but they're starting to be more known. Some of these guys that had like a different alias are getting recognized, and it's like even these guys are under this motherfucker, and it's like, wow, these guys are so much better online. What is this? And then you see them at LAN and they're still amazing. I think Anthers is a great way to have shown this type of skill adaptation and growth.
Right.
It's amazing.
Yeah. That's to answer your question to a nutshell. All time before those two things became a standardized, a standardized thing in our community, that's when Melee was the hardest.
Definitely.
Just because those two things really are what we needed to be better. All of us. All of us.
I like it. So now what I want to do is I'm going to turn it over to Tournament Tales, which is something those that are familiar with the show you might remember, where I'm going to bring up a tournament and I want to talk to you a little bit about it, find the most memorable part. If you were to take a guess, what tournament do you think I'm going to bring up? See, I can't switch it on the scenes yet, guys, because he has this open. He knows.
I wonder, you know, it might start with a G, might end with an S. Genesis?
Final answer?
You would bring it up. Yeah, final answer. Something tells me that's what it would be.
He's right on the money, but I will let you know, actually, that it wasn't gonna be Genesis. I was actually going to originally do the gang hosts a Melee tournament. I was actually gonna do that one because I think your losers run in that was fucking wild. The people you were tearing through. I think you went. I still probably have the bracket open from this. I do, actually. You went. Let's see. You lost in winners to Smuckers, who ends up winning the whole tournament. But you lose to him, go off to beat Tian, Swedish, Rishi, and then Boyd, only to then lose to Smuckers again. What a fuck! Like, the only reason I didn't use this one is because I'm fairly certain I've already talked about the gang on a different episode of the bakery, so I didn't want to do a repeat. But as I'm saying this right now, I'm pretty sure I've also talked about Genesis at least once. So I'm a fucking idiot overall, but we're just gonna ignore that for now.
You blew your whole load.
Dude,
you had nothing to talk about.
Exactly. See, I've already talked about it. It's all right there. But Genesis 5 was also just such an amazing tournament as well. You know, you had your game 5 set with Mango, which I think everyone knows about by this point, because I think you were, not to push salt into the wound, but I'm pretty sure it was you were up like 2-0 and then the reverse 3-0. It might have been. I don't even actually no, it wasn't that.
2-1.
That's right, you were up 2-1. Never mind.
Yeah.
So see, there is no salt being pushed anywhere. You went off to then 3-1 Dark Atma, 3-2 Abate, and then a very close game with Crush for game 5 to go down to him. Like, that was still an amazing tournament as well. You want to talk a little bit about that tournament at all? Favorite moment, set, anything at all?
So, all in all, when it comes to Genesis, the main way I kind of wrap it up in a nutshell is that Genesis was the epitomization of what I can do as a player. Genesis was entirely the whole thing about me where I was like, hey, you know, when it comes to this game, everything about me, I feel like I don't really have to learn too much about the mechanics of the game. At this point, I think I'm at a level where I am pretty much almost entirely just need to improve my mental aspect of the game. And when it came to Genesis, I feel like that was the best I've ever achieved, that kind of mental prowess. My decision making, all things in nature of the way I was playing the game, it just super clicked that day. It really, really did. When it came to me playing at Genesis, I felt like I could beat everyone that I played. There was not a person that I felt was outside of the realm of me beating them, and that's where I want to be. I never want to feel like that I can't figure someone out, or you know, someone's just better than me. I always want to feel like that I can make the win happen, and that day I felt that way. Regardless of me still losing in the end, I felt very accomplished, especially after my set with Mango. Even after the loss to him, because he watched me all the games that I did lose. He like beat my ass pretty bad, but it didn't discourage me whatsoever. After the set, I felt really, really great about it, and I was just content with like making a great losers run, and I did. I beat three. Yeah, so I beat 3 or 4. Yeah, I beat 4 top 100 players that entire tournament. I beat Android, Cobalt, Dark Atma, and Abate, all in the same tournament. 3 of them in a losers run. So that is the main thing that I took away from that tournament. I was just like, you know, I have nothing to be upset about. I did what I knew I could do, and it's always been a thing with me when it comes to Melee, is that I never really get too hung up on, you know, things that happen to the game. For example, you know, when it comes to me not winning a tournament, me not beating a set I wanted to really win, I've always tried my best to get in the mindset of, you know, when I want to be good, at the end of the day, when I want to be the best at this game, it's not about the you know, overall destination, like where I'm going to be at the end of the day. It's all about the journey of getting there. And as long as I keep mindful of what I need to do to get going and where I need to go along that journey, I know at the end of the day, when I'm ready, I will be where I want to be.
I really like what you were saying about how you had your mentality that day on how you came in ready to beat anyone, knowing you could beat anyone. This to me doesn't sound like something that you're just gonna have this one day. Is this something that this is something you've kept with you throughout your tournament experience, even before then? Am I right to assume that?
Yeah, I mean, the main thing about me is that, you know, a lot of my early tournaments, I did have, you know, some mentality issues. Secretly, this is like super low key. I'm a big rager. I do get mad. Like, I get very pissed off. Like, sometimes when I take some L's, and I've worked proactively to prevent things like that, and on top of that, I've worked a lot in terms of, you know, being more mindful about what I'm doing, because a lot of times I notice when I get frustrated, it's due to absent-mindedness. It's not really due to me losing. It's due to the fact that I feel like I'm not thinking, and that's the reason why I'm losing.
Almost like self-disappointment type thing.
Yeah, it's a big reflectance of, you know, what I think of what I'm doing as a player. I think when it comes to, you know, Melee in general, I don't really get that upset that, you know, someone beats me. I think it's more so that if I lose to somebody I feel like I should beat, it's not necessarily like because the person beat me. It's like, you know, I have a strong confidence in myself. It's just like I shouldn't have lost that. It's something where it was just like there was a missing element to what was supposed to happen there, and it just never came. Mm-hmm. That's the thing that frustrates me a tremendous amount sometimes.
If you don't mind me asking, what is it you've been doing to take steps towards, or what is it you did at the time, whatever it may be, towards getting rid of that negative mindset? Because I 100% relate to what you're saying. I can be a heavy set rager. Anyone that's ever played any online game with me, they can hear it. I freak out even sometimes on stream and I get mad about it. But you know, it's always a work in progress. What is it that you've done to kind of help yourself with anger towards the game like that?
So one thing is that that has always helped me is that I've always been someone that is not ashamed to look at, you know, at my losses. I've been a very much big proponent of, you know, no matter how much that pain it is to look at, you know, the previous losses that you've incurred. I've always been a big proponent of doing that, and it doesn't matter if it's like the tightest game 5 or if I get sweep 3-0. It's always something where I'm like, okay, you know, this happened. We need to learn from this because there is info here. I believe that your losses always teach you much more about yourself as a player than your wins. That was one thing. Another thing was just, you know, taking a break for a little bit. After a certain tournament, I don't remember which exactly it was. I think it was the quarterly, perhaps.
Okay. We'll say that for now. Sure.
I took a few months break, like almost a month or two of a break, because it was just something where I was getting frustrated so badly, and my girlfriend Brooke was a great supporter during that time because she, you know, kept me in line because there were, you know, Melee players are fiends, and I wanted to hop right back into it like a week after the break. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm not fucked. And she's like, no, you're not.
I'm not addicted, I swear.
So that was really important for me to maintain that, because if I didn't keep that promise to myself, is that I probably would have stayed within that. And that traveling opportunity where I went to Genesis, it was a big thing where my mentality, I had this weird feeling that I was going to play really good that tournament. And here's the thing about me is that I think when I'm playing really good in Melee, it has nothing to do with like the actions or the movement or how fast I am. It's all my mental prowess. Like when my thoughts are concise and they work out and I can manipulate my opponents, I honestly think, and this is so big of a humble brag, whatever you can say about it, I honestly think that I have one of the sharpest minds in Melee. I think when I'm on key, when I'm on the right note, that I literally can just outsmart anybody. I can outsmart anybody, I can read anybody, and I can formulate game plans that just completely counter demolish certain people. The one way I can kind of preface that is that, you know, it may be somewhat known that, you know, not recently because we've kind of, you know, separated a tiny bit because, you know, I had a lot more life things going on and I wasn't always really available, but me and Swedish were kind of like a coach and, player kind of relationship for a little bit. I coached Swedish for like, you know, a month, 3 months. And the thing is that we watched the set of him versus Samus Duck.
Oh, okay.
We watched him versus him and Duck. And what it was is that he was kind of getting, you know, duffed. He was kind of getting fucked up, like pretty bad. And one thing I recognized, and it was so simple, but it was so profound. Like when I thought about it, I was just like, I'm a genius. I was just like, so let's just talk about how Samus plays. She's this very zoning and horizontal character that almost any kind of like lateral or vertical approach is just kind of weird for her to handle unless she has a lot of prep time for it. But what if we play in an instance where prep time isn't, you're not able to do it, or that it's mistaken as a horizontal advancement? And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, let's just think about how Samus works. Wave dash and F tilt. What can beat that? How about jump over Samus and back air behind her? How about jump over Samus and grab her? And when we started looking at that, there was like 19 instances where it would have worked perfectly. Immediately in the next tournament, Swedish is like 3-0s him or something. Immediately.
Damn.
I watched the tournament. I watched him use it. And it just completely threw him off. He got duffed bad. It was not close. And that's that moment where I really had confidence in my own analytical skill of looking how to play this game. I was just like, it was something so simple, yet so profound that it had such a tremendous positive effect.
Changes the game plan.
W.
Yeah.
That's when I started doing a lot more internal research in terms of game plans, is that if I go into a match with a solid game plan, it more than likely works. That's just a lot of things.
That's
usually
life at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah, usually in life you have to have, you know, an MO of what you're trying to accomplish. If you kind of freeform it in, you know, a lot of ways that are static, because the way I would describe that is that melee is very static. You know, there's a winner and a loser. You have to come with some kind of formulated plan, but you also have to leave room for, you know, the person itself. Like, what does the person like to do? And it's just entirely something where at that moment, around that time, because I was prepping for Genesis, that's when I was just like, okay, yeah, this is it. Like, this is how I know, this is the validation that I need, that this is where I need to go to obtain the power, the superpower that I need.
You gotta lift the stone out of the stone. What the fuck? The sword out of the stone.
The sword.
The sword out the stone. I knew what I wanted to say.
Yeah, when it came to that, that's when I was just like, that's it. That's exactly what I needed. That's how I know. That's how I know I can do it. And it kind of went from there. There was a lot of it that perhaps was very autopiloted in a way, where things just kind of naturally occurred after that, where, you know, I may have just slightly gotten better, things like that. But that was the biggest moment that kind of clicked it. My evaluation and coaching of Swedish really helped me develop as a player of myself.
Love it, and I think that proves it a lot too. The way you were discussing just how you went about that analytic it's very smart. You know, I was thinking about it in my head. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, she does work like that. Oh shit, this option. Yeah, that is an option that you could use. You know, this is obviously I'd need to probably see the game and see where it would have happened, but fuck it. Like, that is how you do analysis in a nutshell, and using your mind like that it's pretty fucking sick. I think it's something that's definitely underrated as far as like when you're still kind of lower level or even like mid-level. I don't think enough people really think about how crucial it is to kind of take the L and notice where you made these mistakes, and even talk about it with other people. Having someone that's not even just a coach not even just a coach, but like just a friend to talk about the game with can help in such a way. And seeing you in Swedish like that, I think that's brilliant.
It's entirely a thing where I think when it's in early stages of development of a player in general, it's It's very difficult to understand because I was actually having a conversation with Ginger over this weekend at the script, not just like melee stuff. We were talking about how like earlier in the game, like we love thinking, like we're big thinking boys. Like I was just like, I love thinking. Do you love thinking? He's like, oh my god, thinking is so cool.
My brain is so fun.
And we were just talking about it's just like it's really hard to help people like develop that skill because trying to explain what goes on in these instances, like you could factually see, you know, that was a back air, but why that back air? That can be almost like a 30-minute conversation over one back air. Things when it comes to melee is just like they can be so fucking abstract. Like they can get so simplified to a point where it's just like, what are we even talking about anymore? And that's the thing that I actually love the most about this game, is that I can talk about a back air for 40 minutes.
I think you're definitely not alone in that, Bo. I think I've talked to at least enough people that I can be proud of that statistic, that people definitely love how much they can talk about this game and how much depth there really fucking is. If to anyone that like ever has picked up this game even casually, they will never understand this game as it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. I'll never, or maybe I will one day. I fucking doubt it. I'm gonna stick with never. I don't care. I will never understand what the fuck is going through Mango's head. I will never understand what goes through Armada's head.
And we were talking about that. We were talking about that exactly. Like it's really hard to understand some people's motivations. Like S2J.
How the fuck?
I don't get him at all. I know he's amazing.
He's brilliant. He's
so good at guessing. How is he so good at that?
He reads enough books, I think.
That's why this game is so fucking amazing. He's so good at guessing. His motivations are so hidden of what he wants to do. It's insane.
I definitely, big shout outs to S2J. He's forever been one of my favorite players. He kind of got pushed down a little bit by None because again, there's another guy that what the I just see it in your face. You're like, yep.
Two crazy people.
Yeah, it's
they need to be locked up, both of them.
But I love them both.
Literally both of them.
I love it. I don't ever want to see them locked up. I want to see them forever playing this game and beating the shit out of each other with one of the most amazing characters in this game. But I just love Falcon. I'm forever gonna fanboy on that. But I completely agree. I think looking more into the minds of people that play this game at such a top level is an incredible thing, and just seeing them slow down a game that is so quick, it's fucking insane. So I want to move on a little bit here to your MIOM rank for this year. We got 62 on the board, which is quite a great number considering you've never even been on this. This is your first year on the MIOM Top 100.
I debuted the same number as Rishi.
You did debut the same number as Rishi.
Yeah.
Then again, this fact could be changed if anyone debuted the same number as Rishi. But anyway, 62. Thoughts on that when you saw this coming out? What was your first impression?
Every instance where someone like added me or messaged me about it, I just kind of face rolled on my keyboard in excitement as a response. This was a great day. It felt like a personal accomplishment for me. So well deserved in my mind. When we talk about recognition, this was exactly it. That's what I really wanted. That's the yield. That's the result that I want to happen. And it did. And I was very, very pleased with myself. Do I think it's an accurate number? I think, if we're being factual, I may be carried by my Genesis placement very highly. But I think at the end of the day, if I can push the numbers to do it with the ability that I'm aware that I can do, I think I can easily be top 30 or top 20 in the world. I think there is a lot more consistency that I need to uphold for me to get there, but I think for my peak is easily there. And the idea is that my peak's over here, my average is right here. I want to bring my peak closer to my average. So I think for this number, it represents a lot. It represents a lot of hardship. It represents a lot of wins, a lot of losses. I'm proud of it. I can honestly say that if it were any lower and higher, I may be questioning it. But I'm proud of it. I think it's a very fair placement, and I'm glad that, you know, people recognized the capabilities that I have.
It was definitely a good start. I only expect to see this number go. How do you say this? Go down? I think it feels weird to say like, oh, I can't wait to see it go down, because I think that you know what I mean. The number's gonna be that closer to the top 30, top 20. We see it in your effort, in your grind. I would almost, I can't really ask at this point because, oh god, you need to go. Yeah, she's starting to give the dead legs. See you later, Kai. You will be missed. There's no RIP Frankerzies, but we'll represent it for now. But the idea of what you'd plan to do to get that number lower, do you plan to attend even more tournaments this year? Do you think just you as a player have improved much more to where you guys saw nothing last year? This year is where you're going to see me really shine. Is it a mix of the two? Is it beyond what I'm saying? What do you see?
So I never want to make the promise on something unless I'm really, really looking to promise, because I kind of have a semi-legendary tweet. The day all of top 100 rankings came out of last year in December, I made a tweet and I pinned it to my profile that I'm making the top 100 in 2018.
It's actually really funny because I have the "damn I was right" tweet still loaded up, but I didn't. Oh, there it is. Yeah, there's the pinned one to remind myself I'm making top 100. This is actually such an iconic tweet. Yep.
So good. So good. Yeah, that's the main thing about what happened, is that I wanted to do it and I did it. Now, where do I want to go from here? Do I want to play the long game by, you know, incrementally going up, or do I want to make sure I stay where I want to be? Because the worst case scenario that I don't want to have in my mind is that I make this ranking and I'm off next year. So the idea is that I got a good placement at the script, but I didn't beat any ranked players. I got a good, solid placing at, you know, Don't Park in the Grass, but I didn't beat any ranked players. There's an issue here, and I need to rectify it. There's a trend of me doing all right for what I expect of myself and not making an impact on where my placement in my career is going to be. Now, in retrospect, before I may have held too much allegiance to the number, because the number in my mind is just clout, and where I actually want to focus is where I feel I am. And that's probably the motivation I'm going to go for this year. I'm definitely going to be traveling a lot more now that I have my own apartment and I'm a lot more settled than I was before. That's where I think I want to be. The number almost this year is not the factor for me this time around. It's going to be making an impact, getting some wins, and I want to win a fucking tournament. I want to win a big tournament. That's what I want to happen.
You gotta pull the Leffen, dude. It worked for you once where you're saying I'm gonna be ranked.
I
now
will
pull
win
the
evil.
I will win evil. I win evil. Shout out to Vish. That is forever one of my favorite impressions ever. But I mean, dude, it's cliche to say the whole fucking do it then, you know, just do it. But you sound like you have the dedication, you have the drive to do it. You're saying you have much more of a means somewhat this time around. You know, you have the apartment, like you're saying, you're a little bit more stable. I mean, at this point, like, fuck yeah, man. You have at least, you got my support. You have hopefully my chat here. I hope these guys are all out here supporting you. I'm seeing such mixed chat comments, and don't worry, guys, we're gonna get to chat questions soon enough. But like, you have the support of the people, man. People know about you. People are loving you. I'm the asshole if I say I expect you to win something, but I definitely got the dreams for you, man. I totally hope it works out for you. I want to see it go through. You're showing yourself up more and more. You're doing what you can. You're taking the right steps. I don't really have much more to say other than that, you know. You keep at it, man. You fucking got it. You got it. I think, yeah, we've covered just about everything. I think the last and only other thing we could talk about before I just check chat for any questions, which, by the way, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them there, and I'll go through the chat one last time, and I'll ask away. Yeah, the local rankings. The only ranking I was able to really find for you was in the summer of last year, and this is when you were number one above all these other fantastic names. We got Nagy, Vikram, Snacks Ad, Spood, Squilliam, Ultima, Ragnite, and Limecat. My first thing is congratulations on that for back then, I guess. You know, you can hold that as you want. But where we are now, it seems, have you not been able to attend locals? Is this during the break period that we were discussing? Why was I not able to find a PR, man? Come on. You know how the show works.
So, PR, it's in a closed Facebook group on Philly. That was like, if you're looking for current, yeah, there isn't really any current PRs that I'm on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years ago, I used to attend a lot of locals, like a tremendous amount of them. Mm-hmm. And not entirely for, just the money portion of it, is that I use them as a training ground, because I did really have significant competition. I never really lost to them, but RTDLU was an amazing tool to get good as a player.
Mm-hmm.
I had other players like Slug and Bones as well, but it came to a point where attendance for tournaments depressed very, very significantly, almost to the point where I only would make like $30 for first place in a lot of locals, and that just wasn't enough. Like, I had a girlfriend that we had to support each other with. I wanted to move out of my house at some point.
Mm-hmm.
It was entirely a thing where locals just weren't supporting me anymore, and I needed to find something else. That's when I started working at Best Buy, and I started focusing more, like getting full-time there and practicing more solo and doing more net play, and that's kind of where I've been. There, in the summer of like 2014, 16, 17, stuff like that, there was like sometimes some tournaments with like 70 or 90 entrants. I was making bank. Like, I made like maybe like $400 one tournament off of winning doubles and singles in one day.
That's a good amount.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And then I had a tournament the next day, and I won like $70.
And
like, that was supporting
the next day.
But now I don't make that kind of income off of tournaments anymore. So it was something where it just couldn't be for me anymore. I couldn't attend as many locals as I wanted to, and I love going to locals. I love playing my players. I love getting them better. I love talking to them about the game. It's just I have a lot more priorities than just Melee. And, I love Melee, and it's probably the biggest thing in my life besides a few other things. But it's something that I can't just solely do. At least not yet. The idea of Melee, especially in a local scene, is that you can't just play that. You just can't do it. It can't support, a person to live off of. And it's sad. because I would really love to.
Mm-hmm. I actually was just having a conversation with I think you'll know this kid, Wild. You know him. Yeah, I was actually having a conversation with him literally just last night about this exact topic, because he was just coming home from the script as well, and we were talking about how Melee is probably one of the hardest, while also being one of the most fundamental games to ever play competitively, that you just cannot make a living off of as an average or even above average player. You need to have a stream. You need to consistently win bigger tournaments than just a fucking local. You need a scene that not only supports you always winning those local, like, there's so many factors that play into if you want to make a living by Smash, and it's just so it's fucking impossible. It's so hard, and yet we're all out here still loving this fucking game 15 years later. Nintendo trying to show their support, but it's hard.
Yeah,
and
it's entirely a thing where at one point it just kind of dawned on me. I was just like, you know, I've never been in the game for money. It was something that was nice and it helped me for a while, but you know, evidently when the game stopped giving the money, I had to add something when it was lacking, and that's entirely it. I would go to locals if there was, you know, more consistent, you know, numbers into it, because honestly, at the point I'm at for, you know, the locals that I had, like during that one summer of Philly Smash, when there was like 70, 80, 90 entrants consistently for the weekend tournaments, the weekly tournaments, yeah, I would still be going to locals every single week. And that would have been more than enough money. It's probably more than what I'm making now on an hourly basis. Easily. So that's the main thing.
I think everyone kind of grows up eventually, and they start to realize, like, as much as when we're younger, you know, like winning some money at a video game tournament, holy shit, dude, let's go. Like, even growing up, like, I've done other competitive games, and let's say I've won some money here and there, whatever. It's a nice feeling, you know. That's fucking sick. I want to do that. And then you realize you need to also spend money to try to win this money, and if you don't win that money, holy, like, what have you done? Money is unfortunately something that you need in life, and when this game isn't always giving that to you, or you're having to sacrifice so much for it, that it's hard to feel, I'm trying to think of the right word for it. It's hard to feel confident, and not, I don't even want to use that word, but I'm gonna for now. It's hard to feel confident in your abilities every time when you're also playing for the payroll, you know. I think that kind of covers it. And yeah, this game will always have my support, and I'll always do what I can to help out, but like, holy shit, is it hard to make that living, man. It is not easy.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
All right, well, that's all from me. I'm gonna turn it over to the chat's questions, because we do have a few in here that I'm hoping are a little bit more serious than what I was reading originally, except for this one that I do want to kind of say, because I realized it, like, actually when I called you for the mic check and didn't want to totally say it, but now I'm being reminded. You know, you look just like Fiction.
So this is not the first time I've heard this?
Okay, I'm making sure.
It's not the first time I heard it.
I figured. And that's not a bad thing.
It is a funny meme. I like it. It's good.
I'm trying to see. I can't pronounce. Oh wait, yes, I can pronounce his name. The Wu-Tang Wumpus. He comes in and he said, "I didn't know this was a Fiction interview." I didn't either. And then he just kind of showed up. So, you know, whatever. He wants to know about how you feel on the Phantom versus Zane. I don't know exactly what Phantom he's talking about. I'm assuming you play. No, you didn't play him at script.
You mean IBDW, right?
That's what I was assuming. I think he meant IBDW, because you didn't play Zane at script.
I didn't play Zane at the script. I think he means against IBDW. I'm gonna answer the question as if that's what you're asking.
BDW. Cool.
No, I was just in the zone. I think it's silly to get tight at RNG. And I know Phantoms factually are not RNG, but there are such tiny finite factors that change if it's going to Phantom or not that it might as well be. So that's what I consider Phantoms. I think they're RNG. You know, sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. There isn't like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
There's no time to get upset about things like that because it just happens. I was just so in the zone that I picked up and, you know, killed him. Oh. I meant Fiction's Phantom Shine at Genesis.
Oh. So yeah, he's double memeing.
I was so into a question. Anyhow.
What a dick. Kidding me.
I mean Fiction Phantom Shine at versus Zane at Genesis.
That is not okay.
I mean, my real answer is I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think about it. But if I were Fiction, you know, I'd be probably tight.
Yeah, definitely would be.
I'd be probably tight.
Definitely would be annoyed at that. Let's see, what else do we got here? We got a few times we have someone mentioning about what do you think about Nagy, who I was seeing was number 2 on that Delaware PR. If you have any comment at him, feel free.
Well, believe it or not, Nagy's actually my son.
My son.
He's my son. I'm not exactly proud of him, but he's getting there. Nagy. He's an up and coming kid. He's exactly what I was a few years ago in terms of, you know, people are starting to get his name out there a little bit. Main thing that he needs to accomplish is that he needs to break that next barrier, and it's so hard to say this kind of shit because there is no answer that I could deliver in terms of what to do there. It's all about a personal journey.
I like it.
And if he wants my advice, then you should take my whole journey quote that if I die one day, it's going to be my quote. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey going there. That's OD.
That is definitely OD.
It's definitely OD. That's why I'm going to be the greatest Melee player, because of that quote. But yeah, that's the main thing that I could say to him, is that focus on your development and you will get where you want to be.
Focus on that development, Nagy. We got you, dog. Moral Tech wanted to let you know, very OD play from you at the script. I'm assuming that's a good thing. We'll get that in there. YungD0nut, that's my son. YungD0nut wanted to know, how do you go about practice? I know it's kind of a big question. Hold on, let me see. How do you go about solo practice? Because I watched Pew Pew's solo practice vid, and I'm just looking for some more tips. So any tips you would have to inspire aspiring Marth mains about ways they should be going about their solo practice?
Main thing first is that a big thing about Marth is being able to move. Marth's biggest thing is that he has a lot of flexibility with his movement. And main thing about practicing, the main thing I would say to practice first and foremost is punish. Punish is the way that you win 80% of your games. Outplaying your opponent would be a larger percent if I didn't say 80% initially, not think about it. So I'll say 60-40. 60-40 punish, 40%, you know, thinking. When it comes to punish, that's a huge, huge factor, especially in the lower to mid-level range, because punish game used to be the biggest thing when you're a starting player. Now there are actually people who think and have a good punish game, and they're not even ranked. It's crazy.
What the fuck?
It's actually crazy. Like, there's kids that don't think when I played, but they're punish game bots. Now you have punish game bots that think. It's like so weird. It's so weird to me how different Melee is.
Your face just showed like a fundamentally like, what the fuck is happening?
It's so crazy how different Melee is from so long ago. But punish game's a big thing. And then you just want to get comfortable with fighting. Like, the thing about Marth is that overall, he has the potential to beat any character. And you have to be able to embrace that. The main thing that I usually try to implore people is that you don't always have to play Marth in the most optimal or defensive way. Like, Marth can be played in an aggressive in your face and read heavy. Like, I think what the main thing is that you need to find out what you like to do. And when it comes to just practicing, you know, it's the standard stuff. Land all your L cancels. Get good ledge dashes. Make your recovery good. Practice all the core fundamentals that the game requires you to do to achieve and strive to better advanced mechanics. Because in 2019, I shouldn't see a scrub miss an L cancel. It's so easy to L cancel nowadays because you can literally turn on a screen that tells you when you miss your L cancel and by how many frames. It's so stupid. It's so easy to get this basic stuff down now. It should only at max take like 1 or 2 months, and if you're really good, like a few weeks, to be able to do wave dashing and L canceling. It's so easy to do that kind of stuff now. When I played in my very beginning, it was like impossible to tell if you L canceled something properly because the game was just like too quick and we didn't know what we were doing because we were playing against someone. We had the stress that we wanted to win, and we were also practicing stuff. So that's the main thing that I would say. Use the resources that you have. There's so much stuff that makes you so much better at the game. 20XX, Uncle Punch, all this crap.
I totally forgot about Uncle Punch, actually, until you just mentioned it.
Just use this stuff, man. It's crazy. It's so crazy.
That sounds about right to me. The last one on here, we kind of already touched about this, Jam. How you got into Melee. You know what? You said you're a funny guy. If I can quote you in the beginning of our interview here, TLDR, how did you get into Melee?
How did I get into Melee?
TLDR.
I have a cousin. He's like my brother. I always hung out with him. He played Melee. So to ride on his dick, so did I. TLDR.
I was really kind of just hoping you'd left it at the I have a cousin. I think that's a really good kind of TLDR as well. How'd you get into Melee? I have a cousin. Me too. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, man. I got no other questions left here for you. This has been a hell of a conversation. Went a lot longer than I was really even anticipating. You had so many great stories. I loved getting to talk to you, pick through your brain a little bit, and hear all these little nuances. Whatever you got to plug, whatever you want to talk about, go for it. Now's your time.
Well, I think at the end of the day, everyone who's watching this and they want to get better at this game, or they want to help their friends succeed, or anything you want to do in life, just know that if you put in the right amount of effort and you are mindful of feedback that others are giving you and other things of that nature, then you'll be fine. It's entirely up to your own, decision making that makes you what you are. And then one thing I'll say before I plug my stuff, I'll just give you a funny story over this weekend because some people may be asleep right now because I love to talk and this is almost going on for 2 hours. But at the script, if you are ever at a tournament with me, just know that I get OD crazy in the crowd. especially when I have New York with me. G Money, DJ Nintendo, Big Wins, all these kind of people.
Oh, the squad.
I get crazy in the crowd. If you saw the last match of Zane versus Ginger, I threw a towel at Zane. I literally yelled, "Throw in the towel, ma." And I did this like 9 times in some matches where some people were getting jammed. I just literally would just grab this towel and I would throw it in the crowd and be like, "Throw it in. It's over."
Oh, shit.
So that's the main thing you got to know about me. And you also, if you want a quick laugh, me and Junebug were playing PM friendlies at the script, and Zane walked up. He's like, "Hey guys, can I play PM too?" And we're like, "Well, we don't fuck with melee players, you beta. You're a beta for trying to play with us." He's like, "No, I can be cool too." And then I'm like, "Yo, go Diddy Kong on him." And he's like, "All right." So he pulls out a banana and throws it on the ground in front of Zane. He's like, "What do you do?" And he's like, "I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm spacing against. I don't know what you can do." And we're just fucking with him like that. So,
oh my god.
Literally, anyone who wants to ever play me, feel free to walk up to me. I'm not against playing against the worst player in the world or someone who wants to seriously beat me because they hate me or something.
Make sure you walk up to him and not Fiction, though. That's pretty...
If you mistake me for Fiction, then we actually might have to throw down.
That would be so funny. Someone comes up to you, they're like, "Fiction, I'm such a big fan." You're just like, "The fuck?"
Yeah, but that's pretty much all I have to say. As you saw on the bottom right-hand side of the screen for the past 2 hours, those are my handles for my Twitch and Twitter. If you're blind, then use your Braille keyboard to type in Stango SSBM in your web browser on either twitter.com or twitch.tv. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a lot more streaming content. I tweet somewhat frequently. I mostly retweet memes and, give my own hot takes on what's going on in the community, or just say something funny on Twitter. But that's me. You've listened to this for 2 hours. This is me as a person. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was fun doing this. Thank you to the YungD0nut, which is a bad name, by the way. I'm sorry. I'm just got to be real with you.
Fuck! What do you mean? What? How is that how this is ending right now? What? Man. That's OD. Man.
I'm sorry. I was holding it in the entire time. I was holding it in the whole time.
What do you mean?
Dude, I had to say. So here's the thing. I saw someone in the chat say, "Now you can drop that trash tag," because he's looking for someone that takes Stango.
You fucking stop.
And I was just like, that's a good point. It's not a really good name. I'm sorry.
Dude.
I'm sorry.
My whole
Listen,
life.
How you're feeling right now is exactly how I felt. Like 4 years ago.
I didn't deserve this chat.
I'm telling you, this is exactly how I felt. You shouldn't feel bad about this. This is going to help you personally grow.
If my name was just Donut, would that be better?
I like Donut.
Yeah, so do I, but some fucker has all the handles for it, alright? So fuck you. I'm fucking trying, okay? Man.
Dude, some people, even on newer games, I forget what game I recently signed up on. I think it was Apex Legends. I just tried doing Stango, I think, and someone had Stango. I'm like,
oh, look at that. Look at that. So see, we can't always get what we want, can we?
No, but I just go for Stango SSBM. It's just
I got Donut SSBM because the guy that owns okay, everyone right now, can we imagine a world where everyone can go to the guy that has YungD0nut, at YungD0nut on Twitter? This dude hasn't said anything in like 4 years. It's a really fucking bullshit. I'm not gonna
Wizzy had the exact same situation like many eons ago, and he had D1 like deactivate the dude's account.
But that's
Not
for
D1.
Twitch, right?
Yeah, that was for Twitch because he had 3 Z's in his Wiz room.
This dude's fucking name on Twitter is Egg Ass. Okay, and his last tweet is 4 years ago, and it says 8. What the fuck, omafm? Like, do I not deserve that handle? I'm dealing with apparently such a shit tag that even Stango calls me out at the very end of this interview. Like, I deserve that Twitter. Get on your shit. All right. I can't rant about this right now. Stango, thank you so much for coming on. Again, guys, all his socials and everything we've talked about will be in the description of the video when it is uploaded. If not, you can rewind, find what we were talking about. It's been an absolute pleasure. Make sure you check out Smash Studios as well. The man's sponsor, the man's homie, PB&J, I think. Yeah, main proprietor of that. I don't fucking know. He's the homie too. Go check him out. Check all that stuff out. And we'll see you next Monday, all right? Take it easy, everyone. Peace.
See you around, guys.